It was late October when the incident happened, just a few days before the first real snow of the season. The man it happened to was named Daniel. He was 32, recently divorced, and had moved into a small rental cabin on the edge of a forest preserve in northern Minnesota. It was the kind of place people chose when they wanted quiet. No neighbors within shouting distance, just trees, wind, and long empty trails cutting through miles of woods. Daniel wasn't reckless, but he liked being alone. After years of city noise and constant stress, the isolation felt peaceful. That night, he took his usual evening walk. He left the cabin just after 9 p.m., wearing a thick jacket, gloves, and a headlamp strapped across his forehead. The forest was silent in that way only deep woods can be. No traffic, no distant voices, not even insects. Just wind brushing through branches and the soft crunch of boots against fallen leaves. He followed the narrow dirt trail that wound behind his property, planning to walk about half a mile before turning back. The first 10 minutes were uneventful. Then he heard the footsteps. At first, they were so faint he almost dismissed them. A soft crunch, just slightly out of rhythm with his own. He stopped walking. The sound stopped instantly. He stood still, listening. Nothing. No breathing. No shifting. No leaves moving. He waited a few seconds, then took a step forward. Crunch. A half second later, another crunch echoed behind him. He stopped again. Silence. Daniel told himself it was probably an animal. Deer were common in the area, and raccoons sometimes wandered onto the trails. Still, the timing bothered him. The way the sound seemed to react to his movements. He continued walking, slower now. The footsteps followed, always several feet behind. Never closer, never farther. Just enough that he could hear them clearly. His chest tightened. He glanced over his shoulder, swinging his headlamp beam across the trail. Empty. The light caught tree trunks, dead leaves, and tangled brush, but no movement. He turned forward and kept walking, trying to ignore the unease creeping up his spine. For the next several minutes, the pattern continued. Step, crunch, pause, silence. Every time he stopped, the sound stopped too. When he moved, it followed. Perfectly, patiently. His thoughts started racing. If it were an animal, it wouldn't mimic him so precisely. And if it were a person, why stay hidden? He debated calling out, but something about the darkness made him keep quiet. Instinct told him not to announce his presence any more than he already had. The trail curved sharply left, narrowing between thick trees. Daniel slowed, his heart pounding. His breathing sounded loud inside his own ears. Then the footsteps changed. They grew closer, not rushing, not sprinting, just closing the distance, one step at a time. Daniel broke into a jog. So did the thing behind him. The sound of pursuit became unmistakable. Heavy footfalls now, clearly human. Too heavy to be an animal. Too deliberate. Panic surged through him. He ran. Branches whipped his arms. His boots slipped on damp leaves. His headlamp bounced wildly, throwing chaotic shadows across the trees. Behind him, the footsteps stayed just out of reach. Never catching up, never falling back, matching his pace perfectly. After nearly a minute of sprinting, Daniel skidded to a stop, gasping for breath. He spun around, heart hammering. The trail behind him was empty. No figure, no movement, just endless darkness between the trees. "Hello," he called, his voice shaking. No answer, only silence. For a moment, he wondered if exhaustion and fear had made him imagine everything. Maybe his own echoing steps had tricked him. But then, from just beyond the edge of his headlamp's beam, he heard a slow, deliberate exhale. Not animal. Human. Close. Very close. Daniel stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his own feet. "Who's there?" he demanded. Still no response. Just that quiet breathing, steady and controlled, as if whoever was out there wasn't even winded. He turned and ran back toward his cabin. This time, the footsteps didn't follow immediately. That terrified him more than the chase. He sprinted the rest of the way, lungs burning, until the warm glow of his porch light broke through the trees. He slammed the cabin door behind him, locking both deadbolts with shaking hands. Only once he stood inside, chest heaving, did he realize how badly his hands were trembling. He stayed by the door, listening. Nothing. No footsteps on the porch. No movement outside. Eventually, his breathing slowed. He checked every window, every lock, and even the small storage room beneath the stairs. Nothing was out of place. That night, Daniel barely slept. He kept replaying the sound of those footsteps in his mind, the way they followed him, the way they matched his pace so perfectly. The next morning, he decided to walk the trail in daylight, hoping to find evidence of someone else being out there. Footprints, broken branches, anything. But the forest looked completely undisturbed. No tracks, no signs of struggle. Nothing. For several days, nothing strange happened. Daniel convinced himself it had been stress, exhaustion, or some strange echo trick played by the trees. Until the fourth night. He woke up at 2:17 a.m. to the sound of footsteps outside his bedroom window. Slow, measured, crunching softly against gravel and dirt. His heart lurched. He stayed perfectly still, barely breathing, as the sound moved past the window and toward the front of the cabin. Then it stopped. He waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. Finally, a quiet knock echoed through the house. 3 slow taps. Daniel didn't move. The knock came again. 3 taps. Same rhythm. Then silence. He lay frozen until sunrise. When daylight finally came, he found something in the dirt beneath his bedroom window. Footprints, large boot prints. But what chilled him most wasn't their size, it was their pattern. They circled the cabin, over and over, like someone had been walking laps, patiently waiting. Daniel packed his belongings that morning and left the cabin before noon. He didn't tell his landlord why. He didn't file a police report. He just left. Months later, after moving back into the city, the nightmare started. In every dream, he was walking alone through dark woods. He could hear footsteps behind him, always matching his pace, always just out of reach. Until one night, the dream changed. This time, when he stopped, the footsteps didn't. They kept going, past him, ahead of him, and as they passed, he saw himself walking beside them. Another version of him, head tilted slightly, smiling. When Daniel woke up screaming, his bedroom floor was covered in muddy boot prints leading from his door to the foot of his bed. And none of them matched his shoes.